Welcome to today's episode of the Simply Financial podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Calandra. Want to increase your financial IQ with today's episode, which will be a discussion about estimated tax payments. The thing is, some taxpayers have to pay quarterly estimated taxes. If you work as a W-2 employee, and I know many of you who are listening do, this concept may sound a little weird and foreign. That is because your employer withholds taxes from your paycheck, and they send your tax payments, your estimated tax payments, to the IRS on your behalf. You know this generally because we're talking about partially the difference between your gross pay and your take-home pay. You know there's money deducted for taxes, and that's sent to the IRS. If taxes are not automatically withheld from your income, you usually have to make estimated tax payments. As you might expect, the most common time that this happens is for self-employed individuals. I, as an example, for the vast majority of my career, have made quarterly tax payments because I have not traditionally been an employee of anyone else. If you think about this, when your employer withholds taxes, it's sort of pay as you go. If you're self-employed, they are kind of creating another version of pay as you go by doing it quarterly instead of per pay period. The payments each year, the estimated quarterly tax payments, fall on April 15th, June 15th, September 15th, and lastly, January 15th. Even though that January 15th payment is taking place in the subsequent year, it's the final quarterly tax payment for the prior year. If you don't pay your quarterly estimated taxes and then you'll be subject to IRS penalties. It's the same thing if you're late. So the IRS really wants you to make your quarterly tax payments. The estimated payments are calculated on your prior year's income. The estimate is not made up. It's based on a formula derived by your prior year income. If you work with an accountant or CPA and you're self-employed, they will almost always tell you what your quarterly taxes are so that you could stay compliant with the IRS rules and not trigger any payments needlessly, or penalties needlessly, I should say. If you don't have an accountant or a CPA and you use software, the software can also calculate it for you. I want to remind you, and this is something that sometimes there's confusion about, it's an estimated tax payment. You will settle up finally with the IRS when you file your taxes for the year. So if you make your 4 quarterly tax payments and your income is lower than the prior year, lower than expected, you would, in that silly example, probably expect a refund because the quarterly tax payments would have been too much. Similarly, if you make your quarterly tax payments and you make the correct ones based on the prior year income and you make them on time, you might not be subject to a penalty, but they may not be enough to settle your tax liability with the IRS, meaning you'll have to pay come tax time. These are just estimates, and the true up, the settlement, comes at the point that you complete your taxes for a given year. So that's the quick skinny on estimated tax payments. Again, those listening who are only and have only been W-2 employees, the whole thing may sound weird because it is a bit weird. As a commentary, let me say finally, I've always thought that U.S. tax policy would be dramatically different if everyone had to pay quarterly estimated tax payments. The brilliance of having your employer do it kind of makes the pain seem less because it comes out automatically. It's systematized. You don't really see the money. So it is a sneaky, effective way for the government to collect taxes. Because talk to anyone, including me, that makes quarterly tax payments, it is painful. It's painful to collect money each week or each month, only then to have to stroke a large check, perhaps. Hopefully you're doing well and make a good living. To write a big check to the IRS every quarter, it really makes you confront in a very real way, because the money is leaving your checking account to send to the IRS. It really makes you confront how much of a tax bite you are subject to. I always thought that the tax system would be forced to be very different if everybody had to pay estimated tax payments. So that's just a little bonus commentary from me to you. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the Simply Financial podcast. I'll be back with you on the next episode very soon. In the meantime, please go to our website, elliottwealth.com, where you could get more information about the work that my team and I do to help our clients win with money, make good financial decisions, build wealth, and achieve their financial goals. Please check it out. And again, I'll be back with you very soon.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of SagePoint Financial Incorporated and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Please note, the information being provided is strictly as a courtesy. When you link to any of the websites provided here, you are leaving this website. We make no representation as to the completeness or accuracy of the information provided at these websites, nor is the company liable for any direct or indirect technical or system issues or any consequences arising out of your access to your use of third-party technologies, websites, information, and programs made available through this website. When you access one of these websites, you are leaving our website and assume total responsibility and risk for your use of the websites you are linking to. Securities and advisory services are offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Insurance services offered through Elliott Wealth Management, LLC, not affiliated with SagePoint Financial.